Hello internet people, my name is Robert, and in this Shopify tutorial we will create a shop like this. It will be fully functioning e-commerce website with a homepage, customized product page with variants, different collections and working checkout where people can buy your product. To get a free trial and first 3 months for just $1 a month, go to your browser and type punchsolid.com/lp/Shopify. Or just click on the first link in the description. This is an affiliate link, so I get a small commission from Shopify at no extra cost to you. This is a pretty extensive tutorial for beginners, so check the timestamps in the description to jump to the section you are interested in.
Tips with Punch.
And you land on this page with the deal that I just mentioned, and you can see that you can try it for free for 3 days and you don't even need credit card. So let's enter the email address and start the free trial. Then Shopify asks a few questions. You can answer them as you please, or you can just skip them from here. And you see you can skip all these questions if you want to. And then if you go to the last step, you can create your store name. I'm going to call mine Mambo. Let's see if it's available. You can see it adds some numbers behind it. And that's fine because you don't want to go live with this URL. It looks too spammy, and you want to have a custom domain name and then you connect it to Shopify. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of this video. So let's go click next. Now I choose my region or country. So I'm already in Netherlands. And next, I'm going to continue with email. And then I'm going to generate a password with my password generator. And I'm going to create Shopify ID. And you see it's building your store. This will take somewhere from a few seconds to a minute. Just let it load and let's continue from there. So once it's done, you'll see this is the Shopify dashboard. And the cool thing about Shopify, it already gives you some steps to follow here. And you could just follow those. But since you're watching this tutorial, let's just start with the products because we need some data to actually then see them in the store. So let's go to collections. So you can see there's already a collection, it's called homepage, but we don't need it. So let's just delete it. Let's click on this, select it, and then on these 3 dots, you can delete the collection. So it's not in our way. Next, let's create the collection from scratch. In this case, I am going to set up a store with bags and shoes. So I'm going to create a category of bags. So this is the category that's going to hold all the bags. You can add some description here, and you actually should add a little bit here. And then you can choose the collection type. Are you gonna basically add products to it automatically or manually? So you can, if you select automatically, then you have some options here. You have some conditions, and based on a tag, you can assign them to this category. In this case, it's bag. But for now, just to keep it simple, we're gonna start with the manual mode. Then you can also upload an image here. So this will be the collection image. And I actually have prepared something. So I'm going to select this one, this image, and I'm going to add it here. And you can see this will be the collection image. You'll see it in a second how it works. And we can now save this. Let's create another collection just so we have more than one. And in this case, it will be shoes. Again, add some description. I'm going to keep the collection type as manual. And I have another image for this one. So it's just easier to distinguish later on. Like this, and let's save it. All right, we have now 2 collections, and let's add some products. So I'm going to click here on products, and this is where you add new products. These are individual products. So let's start by adding your products. Okay, there are lots of products. I said the products a bit too many times there. Sorry about that. So first of all, my first product. So I'm going to add a sandal here. So that's going to be part of the shoes, and it's called Pleated Heel Mule. And then I can add a description here. I have something already ready. This all text and the names come from the Shopify template. So I'm just reusing that. And don't worry if you don't have the text right now, you can always add it later. Just add some placeholder products because we will need them to design the website. Oh yeah, and I missed to say that in this description box, actually it's quite versatile because you can also style the text. For example, you can highlight them or underline or whatever. So basic stuff that you do normally in a text editor, but also you can make here the text into link. If you just select the text and make it into a link, and same thing, you can add an image, you can add a video, for example, from YouTube, and you can add table. And there's more features here under the dots. Now, for example, if you want to add a video, insert video. So now you just need to paste the iframe here. So for example, I have here my video on YouTube. So you go here, click on share, and then you need to click on this embed and just click on copy. So we are grabbing all of this code and then go back to the website and place it here, insert video. So now you can see it already preloads it there. Now, obviously, it makes no sense to show this video on this page, so I'm gonna just delete it, but the option is there, right? We can add now some images. Let's do that, and I'm gonna choose the sandals, and in this case, it's all of these images.
And I'm just holding the Shift key on my keyboard to select multiple images at the same time.
And also, I have a variation in white color. We're gonna add that in a second. So for now, I'm gonna add those 5 images. You can see it loads here. And now if you drag this one to the first position, that's gonna be your first image. I'm gonna actually add this back to the right place. Then you can add a pricing to this. So this is a high-end product. So the price will be 495 euros. And don't worry, right now I see euros. It's just because I selected as my country Netherlands, so we use euros. Don't worry about it. You can set it a bit later. For now, we just are worrying about the price itself. And then the compare price in this case is if you have some sort of sale, you can add it here. But I don't have. I'm going to keep it like this. You can also add cost per item if you want to. This is just for you. The customers will obviously not see that. So you can see some of the margin calculations also in Shopify. So let's say this cost me something like 49 euros to produce and ship to right place in my storage. So that's pretty much what I get. Now, obviously these are handmade, so maybe they could be higher. I don't know what the real costs are, but just to see later what the margins are. Then you can add a SKU number, and this is really important once your catalog is bigger so that you have something to track on. In my case, I don't have anything, so I'm just gonna add something like this.
Now, for this tutorial, I'm just using a random number here. You could also just use like 1001, for example. But what's important, once you start growing, you need to find a way how to manage your SKUs and so that it's understandable to everybody in your organization as you grow. I'll link a great video about this in the description of this video. You can check it out later there, or just click on the card that appears now on your screen. And just think about that later. But for this tutorial, you can just use a random number because you can change those later on.
And you can also add the barcode if it comes with the product. So quantities, I have 30 of them. And then obviously if you have a physical product, you need shipping. If you uncheck it, you see that you don't need to ship anything because digital products you just obviously download. And then if we ship it, we need to know some of the weight and stuff like that. And again, don't worry about this. If you don't know this yet, you can leave them as default. It's nothing's gonna happen. You can always go back and then update this. These weigh about 1.4 kilograms. So then you can add the country of origin. Let's say in this case, they're coming from Aruba. And then you can add this harmonized system code, which is basically something that customs use to categorize products. You can just Google what this means and what categories they have. So you can enter it here. And then you can add an option. In this case, you can add like size or color. In my case, I have both because they're shoes. So first of all, I'm going to add color. In this case, the shoes are buttermilk. Yes, I'm not sure what that means, but this is how they're categorized. And I'm going to add another option, which is just white. Then I'm going to click on done. We're going to add another option. So in this case, it will be size. And here we can just place our values. So this is for women. So these are European sizes. So I'm going to just place them like this. and 42, something like that. These are the available sizes. Then click on done. And now you can see that there are some options here. So, okay, well, what about buttermilk in different sizes? Well, I actually have only one of those, a bit more of 37s, more of these. I'm just setting some of these values as if there was inventory. Probably this is even too much for such a high ticket item. But anyway, whites I have more just because I feel like they might go quicker. Like this. So you just enter the quantities you have of each of variations. The more variations you have, the harder it is to keep track. But once you set it up, it's actually all right. You just need to have a system for this. Cool. If we scroll up, we missed a section here. And then we have this product organization section. And this is quite important once you have bigger catalogs, so you can organize the catalog in a nice way. This is just for you to get organized. And I would start with this from the start, because as your catalog gets bigger, as you have more products, this is going to be so useful. You're going to be so grateful to set this up from the start. So for product category, for example, I'm just going to choose shoes. There could be some like costume shoes, but they're not. They're just shoes like that. And in this case, they are sandals. Later on, you can also create rules that all sandals just go to category shoes, for example. That's something we looked at when we created those collections. And then a vendor, if you want to, in my case, I'm pretending that this is actually my own brand. So I'm going to add vendor, Mambo. And then you can select the collections here. So in my case, it will be shoes. And you can see that you can actually add multiple collections here. Now, when it comes to tags, this is even more important, because this is going to help you with your internal search, and also you can set up later on collections based on a parameter. So for example, all shoes that are white, you could set up a collection page like that. So if you use tags correctly, they're going to help you so much in the long run in terms of digital merchandising. So I'll just describe this in 1 or 2 words. Let's start with color. So I have buttermilk, but who uses that word? So they are pretty much brown or beige. Also, you could say, okay, there's a white variation there. So one of the variations is white, so that's why I'm adding there. You could also add sizes, add tags, if that's something you're looking after. Like this. Since it's a shoe, it's also important to add something about the materials. So for example, for this product, it's a leather. Could be something more like wooden parts, but in this, I'm going to keep it simple, leather. And you can add more tags if you want to. You later on discover why it's so important, but for now, this is enough. Let's go ahead and save this product. And there you go. That's the first product.
Now, if you're wondering, well, there's not that much space to put in your product details. What if you need to add more details than just that description? Shopify works with Metafields. So you'll need to set up some Metafields, and then you can add more descriptions, description about how to take care of this specific product. Some replacement product is there. That's all possible through Metafields. And I'm going to cover Metafields at the end of this tutorial. So if you need that, if you feel like this is not enough, then you can just skip to that part and watch first Metafields and then come back to this, or just watch the whole video and then you'll see it at the end.
And I just noticed that I have wrong name. I took a wrong name for this. It's actually a sandal like this, and I'm gonna save again. And now we have our collections and our first product. So now I'm gonna go ahead and we can preview this page. So let's preview it. So as you can see, we have here huge images. They look really nice here and very premium. We have our color selection and size selection. So you can select white and a size here. So which is really cool. Obviously, that's what you want in a store. But you can see that it already looks like a proper shop. It has everything you need. Now, obviously, we are missing some of these things like material, shipping and returns and stuff like that. And that's something we need to still do. So you can see there's some other elements that are not filled in. Don't worry about it. We're gonna update all of those. All right, let's close this one and go back to this page. And notice how you can also duplicate this product and here in obviously preview, and you can share it if you want to share with somebody. But for now, it's fine. I'm gonna go back, and now we see our product here. I'm just gonna pause this video and add a few more products so that we have something to work with. Process is exactly the same, and I'll come back in a second. So I added a few products. I have now 2 bags and 4 shoes here, and they are tagged. They have stock, or except one. This one doesn't have stock. So now the cool thing is, once you have bigger portfolio, you can also start seeing things here. So for example, I can now filter by a tag. So let's say anything that is beige. You can see it shows those. So it filters out any other colors. Not sure why that appears there, but this is also a great place to check if everything is all right. So if you notice that people are looking for a certain color or certain, I don't know, material, then you need to check that actually they see the right products. So same thing, you can filter by status, also vendor, but in my case, there's only one, and more filters here. So this all will become a bit more useful once you have a lot of products. Now that we set up this and we have tags and things like that, we can create now one collection based on some rules so that I can show you how that works also. Let's create a collection. We're just going to call it leather products like this. Keep it simple. So leather, not going to even add an image. And in this case, we're going to keep it to automated. So if product tag is equal to leather, then basically that product will be added to this collection. Okay, great. Let's take a look. Save. And now we can actually view this collection. Let's click on that. And you see these are all the products that have something letter, so that they have the tag letter. So now you could also just create this kind of a collection page where you see it gives you so much more flexibility once you do this. And later on, you can also adjust the filters, not only by stock or price, you can also add things like material or size and things like that. So it really makes a better experience for the customer. Let's close these tabs, and now we can go back to the home page, because now it's gonna get a bit more exciting because we're gonna create the design part. So this is where it gets a bit more visual. We already have a nice looking design, but this is where you can change it. So here on the left, let's click on online store, and then you have themes. It's already selected. Here we can choose a theme, and a theme is basically the design of the website. So Shopify has some pre-built themes. Some of them are free and lots of them are paid. So you can choose what you select, but we can go and see what we have here. So these are the popular free themes. And if you click here, visit the theme store, let's click on that. You can see all of them in one view. Okay, so here you can filter. You have the free ones, as mentioned. There's 11 of them right now. And I would just choose the design that you like the most, just so that it's easier later on to build upon. Just keep in mind that you can change everything in there. You can change the images, you can change a little bit of the structure, but just take something that is close to what you like. Then obviously you have a bit more premium ones, which are the paid ones. You can see that the prices are from $150 and up until I think $350, and you get just more features with that. They are prettier, they have more different kinds of layouts. You see here, there's three of them, and here there's 5 different layouts. It's up to you how you want to build. I think I'll start this tutorial with the free theme, but if you really want to put in the effort, I would just look at these paid themes. Later on, we'll also take a look at the apps, which are a different part of the Shopify universe. There you can also buy certain features that then enhance your shop. So for now, I would just start with the free one so you get familiar with this. So let's choose free. And here, let's say, I don't know, let's say if I liked, we have this theme right now. So let's say if I liked this more, so I could now click on it. Then I can view the demo store, so you can actually see how it works on a real website. So you see this is a bit more colorful. It looks nice and everything. And then I would always check how it looks like in the product section. So really nice, very clean. And then you also can click here to see it on mobile, because remember, probably 70 or 80% of your visitors will be on mobile. So it's essential that it works really well on mobile. So here you can preview it. You can see you can just go through the images and so on. So these are stacked here. All right, so it looks quite decent like this. So, okay, I'm just gonna go back. Okay, I guess I need to go back twice. And now I can click on try this theme. And remember, with the paid ones, as long as you don't publish it, you can try them for free. And then I can select my account, add the theme. Okay, now it's saying adding sense, so I'm just waiting until this loads. Now that it's been added here, so let's just preview how it looks like. So if I click on these dots, you can preview how it looks like with your product. So right now, this is the home page, so don't worry, you have this image without an image basically. But here are our products. All right, looks pretty funky. It's definitely less like a premium brand. So if I click now and see how the products look like, it looks quite decent. I do think maybe in this case, it doesn't fit what I'm looking for my shop. So I'm going to just close this. But if you think this is better, you could just now publish it. I'll just do that so you can see. And you can see it will just replace your current theme. If you click on publish, it will just replace them. Let's do that so you can see. And now this theme is on top. You see Sense, this is current theme. Again, for me, the default theme, it's called Dawn. That one worked better. So I'm going to just, again, I'm just going to switch them around. Okay, we know now how themes work and just in summary how you can change them and just look up new ones. But you also have this option for apps. So for example, if we click on this apps or add apps, you can add these additional features to Shopify. So for example, there's some that are popular, like, I don't know, email marketing software like Klaviyo. You can just add it directly here and it's much easier that way. Apps also include the page builders. These are like feature that you can just drag and drop and change the layout of your product page, of your home page. And it just gives you much more flexibility than that theme could give. So even the premium themes, they have some limitations. Bad thing about the apps are that the costs are higher than for premium themes. So for example, if you buy a page builder, they're usually from $19 per month and going up from there. My advice is just try to do it with the themes. So either it's a free theme or a paid theme, and then you can add more apps on top of your build. So if it's not enough, you can always just install an app for certain feature. I don't know, you need FAQ accordion, then just get yourself an app that can do that, or a page builder that already has that. And to see all the apps, just scroll down in this pop-up and you can click on this Visit App Store. For this tutorial, I'm not going to use a page builder because it's really about preference, but it's something for you to know. So let's close this and then we can click on Customize. This is where we can actually customize our homepage, our product pages, even like collections. This is the kind of where all the magic happens. And how it works here, you have structure from left to right. And this is your canvas where you work on, but basically you have the sections, you have theme settings, and you have app embeds, so you can embed certain things if you have apps installed. Then you have certain elements on your homepage. So for example, here at the top, you can select which type of page you're looking at. So in this case, it's homepage, but we will be updating also products and so on. Then here you can also adjust if you're watching desktop or mobile. Mobile is super important. Remember, 70 to 80% of all users are on the mobile devices, so it's essential to also build for mobile. And the way it works, it's quite simple. So it starts from top. Here we have this announcement bar. And then at the bottom, we have footer, which is basically at the bottom of the page. This is quite a standard website structure. And now we can go and start updating things here. So I can just click into this. You see there's a text. And I could now change this text to something like free shipping over $40. Free shipping over $40 purchases. And now this will show up pretty much on all the pages because this announcement header is always there, or announcement bar. But if you want to spice it up a bit, you can actually add more things to it. So you can here add announcement, which will add another bar. I wouldn't use two bars in the same page because then it just gets too crowded. So let's remove the one we just added. So I'll click on this and then here remove block. You see it removes it. Then we have the header, which is the menu. For now, we have home, catalog, and contact. We're going to change the menu structure in a bit, but for now, we need to also update what's going on here. So first of all, I want to update the logo. So if I click into the logo, you have here default logo, which I think it just grabs the text from somewhere and shows that. And if you want to create a logo, I would use a software called Canva, and I'll leave a link in the description to this page. And the cool thing about the Canva is that there's so many templates. If you look at the logos, for example, so here there's only, 58,000 logo designs there. So not only logos, you can do anything here. If you need business cards, they have the templates. If you need anything else for digital assets like Facebook ads or YouTube videos even, you can create it all here. That's why it's so versatile tool. So for example, we can now type in logo and let's start. Oh, it's a bit jumpy right now, but let's see all. And you can see there's all kinds of logos you can use as an idea. I wouldn't go and just use them because obviously you want to have something that is original, but it gives you some ideas, right? So for example, you could say, okay, well, I like the idea of this. So let me click into it. And now I can change it to look like to something that I like. So in this case, for example, Olivia could become Mambo. And then, maybe you don't need this text, so I can just remove it like this. Now, this tutorial is not about how to make a logo or how to use Canva. I'm gonna link a proper video how to create everything, and it will show up in your screen's top right corner right now. So check it out. There you can see how it works. So this looks pretty good to me. I'm just gonna move it slightly, nudge it with my keyboard so that it's in the middle, and now I could use this. Anyway, I already created a logo for this, so let's go and close these tabs, and I'm gonna upload my logo here. All you have to do is here change, select image, and I'm gonna upload this image because we don't have anything in the library. You can see we have now Mumble logo. I'm gonna upload it like this. Okay, cool. That looks good. Select. Now I have my logo here. You can adjust the width here if you want the logo to look a bit bigger. Maybe that's a bit too big. Something like this. Yes, I like that. You can also adjust where the logo shows up on desktop. So top left, for example, it's already there. But we can have also middle center like this. I'm going to keep it to middle left. I think that works the best. So there's a few things you can adjust here. So you have desktop menu type is mega menu if you have a lot of different catalogs and stuff. But for now, let's use drop down. You can see that you can also make the header sticky. So basically when you scroll, it will just stick to the top. I usually prefer to use that so that people have always access to the menu. You can also adjust the layout for mobile here. So for example, are you going to have left or center logo? So if we go on mobile, you see that the logo is in center. That's quite common to see anyway in stores. Let's go back to desktop. And here at the bottom, you have more settings. So if you go theme settings, you have enable product suggestions. Just keep it there. There's no harm. Then you have the type of cart. So are you going to just open it in a new page, pop-up notification drawer? I like to use page, so there's no like a mini pop-up. You just go directly to the cart when you click on it. Then you can add your social media here. So for example, if you have Twitter, you could just add it here. It doesn't show up right now in the header, but it does show up here at the bottom. Then we have the type of menu. So here, menu, it just shows that it's the main menu. So if we click on this little arrow, we can actually adjust the menu settings. So this is actually the structure of the website itself. You can also access it from here. If you click on online stores and you have navigation,
And this is where you can update your menus. If you come here, main menu. So you see we have here main menu, and we have home, catalog, and contact. So catalog is way too broad. So I would actually change this to something else. So let's edit. And instead of all products, I'm gonna make it into collections, and it's gonna be bags, for example. So I'm gonna rename this to bags, apply changes, and you can see it's now there. And I'm gonna add another, we'll call it shoes. And then the link, I can select the collection here, which will be shoes. I could also say letter shoes, which is misspelled. And then I'm gonna select the letter, the shoes here. You can also add filters directly here based on shoes, which is really cool. So for example, you could add them here. Just start typing like beige or something. Do I even pronounce that word correctly? Beige? Big? I don't know. But anyway, you can add them here. So let's add shoes. And now I can just drag and drop this above, below bags. And I don't need a home. This is kind of old school way of showing that you have a home link. So I'm going to delete it. Yeah, remove it. And so now I have here bags and shoes. And obviously, if I had, for example, leather shoes, a collection or something like that, I could create it, leather shoes. In this case, I'm going to just select the leather products. It's not right, but I want to show you one thing. So I can now drag this inside the shoes. You see? Oh, it went under the, if I hover over the shoes, it goes kind of inside of it. So now this is the parent, and then you have the child element. So for example, you could add here leather shoes, sandals, sneakers, and so on, all kinds of shoe types, because that's how usually stores do it. If you go to, I don't know, ASOS.com, you will see these guys spend a lot of time researching things. So I would use something like this as an example. How do they do it? How do they look at their shoes? So for example, here they have shoes, you have trainers, boots, and so on. You see sandals. They even have by brand and images. So always just look at the others. There's nothing wrong with it, especially when you're starting out. Use something that you like yourself, maybe other brands that are in competition with you, but still use them as your like a guide, but then make it your own at some point. So I think I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to save this. So this menu is now saved. I can just close this one. And let's refresh this page, because otherwise we won't see any changes. Oops, let me save this first. And I'll just refresh the page. All right, you now see we have bags and we have shoes. And under shoes, we actually have leather shoes, which is kind of cool. We have the search here, and we also have cart. So let's go back here. Let's click on image banner. You see you have first image, second image, if you want to split them. And if you click on it, what's cool is you can upload your own images. But if you don't have right now, you can also just search for something here. For example, sandals. This way you don't need to look for images. You can just easily upload something from here and keep it as a placeholder, for example. Now I have images. I'll just upload them. So I have this one. Like this. So way too big. So I can actually use here also second image. Let's upload. Maybe should have uploaded them at the same time. Let's see how it works. Does it work in this case? Yes, it does. You see, there's a nice split between the two. You can see here they say there's this feature. It's quite new, where you can adjust the focal point, and then you see that the images, how they work. Let's close this one because we don't need it. We've selected this one, and we have now nice images here. So we have the first image, we have the second image, and then image overlay. This is the darkness of this one. So if you want that to be darker so that your text stands out better, then you can go ahead and do that. We have the banner height. I'm going to put medium so it's not so huge, because right now it was way too big. So I'm going to cut it a little. The default settings are good. You can play around with these settings if you want to.
And here you can choose to stack images on mobile, because right now, if I go to mobile, they just show like this side by side, which kind of works quite cool. And I can now go here and edit and adjust the focal point that we just saw. Actually, the shoes are the most important thing on this picture. So I'm going to adjust it here and save. Now, even on mobile, you can see a bit more of the shoe, both of the shoes. So you see, you can customize this quite well. Mobile otherwise looks pretty good. You have this talk about your brand. Let's adjust that. I'm going to go back to the desktop. Just easier to update stuff if you have it. I'm going to add some text. So I'm going to double click on this text and I can change it here on the left. I can also adjust the heading size. So for example, if we want something bigger or medium, I think this works fine. Some text again, we can click on this and adjust the text. Now, what if you wanted some other, like for example, now we have featured products immediately. What if you wanted something else? Well, that's not a problem. All we have to do is come here, and at the bottom, you come here and you have add section. Let's click on it. And now these are all kinds of sections that you can add to your page. So for example, what if we wanted to add a video or something? Let's take a look. Slideshow video here. We can add a video. So now so you see it's a full screen video, or at least it takes a lot of space, which is fine for a video. If we click on that element, we can give it a heading. So for example, I don't know, let's call it, actually we don't even need to call it, right? I'll just remove the heading. Size, I'll keep it too small so that it's not so huge. So let me use a URL from YouTube like this. This is the video, and then you can also upload a cover image, which kind of makes sense if you don't want to use the default picture of the video. So let's select the image, upload. Here you go. This is for the video, like this. So if we continue now here, we have the video, we have the cover image for the video. I remove the heading. So now we're basically ready. I'm quite happy how this looks like. So what I can do now is go back and move this video to, for example, just below. Oh yeah, you need to grab it here where the 6 dots are and move it just here above featured collections. I'm going to move it here. So I have the title like this, then you have the video, and then you have the featured products. And if we click into this featured products, I think it has 6 products right now. I think it's a bit too much. I would decrease this, for example, to 6 products. Let's take a look. So here, maximum products 4. And you can adjust how many columns they have. So for example, you could have huge images like this. I prefer the smaller ones. And you can adjust the width here. If you click on this, you see it just goes full width like that. So it doesn't follow the same padding here. These are just some preferences. I like to have it all in same line. Then you have multimedia collage, but actually I don't think I want it. I'm just gonna remove it. I don't have the images right now, and I just don't see the need for it. So I can click on this eye and it will just hide it. You could just click on it also and scroll, and you see here, remove section. You can also remove it there. We have a video section here already. I'm just going to remove it because we just added the other one. Okay, now we have here this column. It's called multi-column. Not sure we need it. I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. The settings are always here. You can always play around with them, and it really depends what section you're adding. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. Let's take a look at the footer. So if I click on footer, okay, here we have the footer, and we can add some links here. If you click on this quick links, you can give it another name and say something like products. And I'm gonna adjust this. You have footer menu. Let's go ahead and change that because we need to adjust that a little bit.
Notice how we are now in the navigation section here. You can see it on the left. This is where you actually build the structure for your menus. And this also applies to footer, but same thing for main navigation. We did that earlier.
So here you have footer menu. And right now we only have search there. All right, that's fine. But actually I want to have same elements as in the menu. So that will be bags, not bags, but bags. And then I'm gonna search for bags here as well. Collections and bags, yes. Let's add it. And let's add also the other one, which was shoes. Like this, add. Gonna remove the search. Yep, remove. And later on, I would have more collections here, or I could add something else. Let's save the menu. Let's go back. And now we see we have here two menus. We have the footer and we have the main menu. I'm gonna add another menu. In this case, it will be called info menu. Very creative with this naming, I know. And in this case, it will be about us. Right now, we don't have that page, I believe. I don't think it by default has it. But there's a contact page, so I'm gonna add that one for now. We can add also things like contact us. I know I just added, but for now, just to have something, I'm gonna link it also to contact. Like this. And maybe something about shipping policy. For now, I'll just link all of them to the same page just so that I can see how it looks like in the structure. Okay, let me just adjust this because I didn't uppercase them like this. So it looks nice and consistent. Okay, save menu. And now we can close this tab. And again, let's save this, what we have now. And let me just go to products. And then back to home page. So we refresh the page a little bit. Let's see that. And you see that here at the bottom, the footer changed. You have bags. We have in the info, we have the same bags and shoes. That's what we're going to change. If I click on the menu here, change. We have the footer menu, but let's change the menu and instead have the info menu. And now you see we have the other parts here. You could add now your mission here, or you could also go ahead and add another block here and choose something else. For example, an image or text or whatever you want to add here. For me, this works fine. So let me just adjust this text a little bit. Cool. And then here at the bottom, we have this email section. Again, as mentioned, it's super important to collect those emails. Join our newsletter. And do we want to show the social media icons? Maybe we don't. We can. It really depends what you prefer. If you have any, I'm going to switch them off since I don't have. And now the newsletter is just nicely in the middle. If you have in multiple countries or regions, you can also add them here. Right now, nothing happens because, yeah, we don't have anything. And we can adjust that in payment settings. Same thing for the language selector. So if you have other languages, it would show up here. That's pretty normal place for the language selector anyway, here at the footer. I think that's where all people search for it anyway. And that's pretty much it. This is what we can do in the footer. I noticed also that if I scroll up here, I didn't add any title or anything like that. So let's do that just to have some value proposition maybe here. I'm using this. These are all dummy data, but it's important to add these things here. So I'll just update it here. I'll keep it to large. And then there's this little text I can also like this. And there's the button. We can now link to all products, or maybe we can link directly to something else, like another collection or directly to a product. But we could also separate it and make it like this. Shop shoes. You see on the left, and then shop bags. In this case, I can then add collections. So bags. And same thing here. Collections and shoes. So now we have two. And if I click on this button, just click on it like this. I just want to make sure that it's not outline button, but it's similar button. I could make them both outline, but maybe then it's not very visible. All right, I think that looks
quite good like this. Now that we have set up homepage and then the navigation, we can now look at the product page, because that's probably the most important page anyway on your site. That's where the sales happen, right? So here at the top drop down, you just click on it and you have some options. We have products, and here you have an option to use the default theme. So the default product page of the theme, it's already designed, all the elements already in the page, or you could create your own template. Now, I like to use the default one just because it has the most important elements already there. So I'm just gonna click on that. Now, it loads this product, which is a bag, but the problem is with this bag is it doesn't have extra images. Also, it doesn't have the color nor the size option. So I like to work with the most complex products so that I can cater for all kinds of things in terms of design. So to change this, you can come here on the left, you see preview. If you click on change, you can now select which product you're looking at. So in my case, this one has the most complex setup. So I'm going to use it. And now if you see here, you see the color, the size, and everything else. So let's start with this product. So updating the product works the same way as homepage. You here on the left, you have all kinds of elements, and this is the product related information. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to click on this image. And you see it's product information, and this is like kind of the structure for this whole block. You see it kind of continues up until here. This is all inside of this. So let's start. You can keep the desktop media position as left because that's how it's basically on pretty much every website. But what I like to show here is you can also change how the image is shown. So you can have the stacked. You can have two columns. So you see they're a bit smaller images like that. You can also have thumbnails. So in this case, it's going to be a big image, and then you have little thumbnails here below. And then you have this carousel thumbnail. This is quite also a standard way of showing it. Okay, I'm not sure why it doesn't show right now like that. You can kind of scroll through here. I was expecting actually an arrow here. In any case, I actually use this thumbnails. I think it's a nicer way of showcasing your products. And what I don't like is that the image is so huge. I'm going to change it from here to medium one. This way, even on a smaller desktop, you can see the image and also thumbnails in one view. Right now, I don't see it just because I have all kinds of stuff here also while building this page. Then if we go to the mobile layout, so let's take a look at mobile. I'm going to select from here. Same thing, hide thumbnails. But actually, I want to show the thumbnails. I like having those thumbnails because I think for such a visual product, you want to showcase that. For some products, maybe it's not needed, and you could use either two-column version or, well, actually, this is quite strange to use, to be honest, on product page, but you could hide the thumbnails and just have like this scrolling thingy. I'm going to use this one. Now, if you have a video on the product page, you can also enable the video looping, especially in the fashion and this kind of websites where it's very visual. They have these looping images of basically people wearing the clothes or the shoes. But for me, I don't have any videos, so I'm going to keep it as is. There's some extra settings here if you want to look at, but right now, I think we're okay using what we have here. Going to go back to desktop. And now let's focus on the right-hand side. This is where all the information about the product is. And I actually like that there's this, it's basically the vendor name in this case, but I only have one vendor, but I think it's cool that you also show it here. Instead of vendor, you could have your own collections there. So if you have different collections, in my case, this block doesn't make sense, so I can remove it here at the bottom. Like this. And remember, if you change it on this product, it also changes for all the products. So it's a template for all the products. All right, the name to me looks good. I like that there's a price immediately, tax included. Sounds good. We have the color options, sizes, but what I'm missing a bit is maybe having this text a bit higher up. So I'm going to click on this text. Let me see where it is. Materials here, description. Actually, I want to drag this description a bit higher after the price, because I feel like I need to convince people a little bit before they can choose what they want. So that's for the description. And now I like the structure more. So now I have two buttons here, which I'm not a big fan because this works if you have just like one or two products, but I think it's easier for people to just add it to cart and then go to cart. I think everybody's familiar with that. So I don't want to have this express checkout. So if I click on this buy button here, I can disable the express checkout. And now my add to cart is the main CTA here. And CTA just means call to action. All right. Now I could add some styling for these. I don't have any details right now in any of these. But if, for example, care instructions, if I don't need those, I need to come to this here. I see care instructions. I can click on it and I can either rename it or give it some other icon as well, or I'm just going to delete it in this case. And let's say material actually, that applies to it. So I'll need that section, but dimensions, not really. So if I click on that and we go here to dimensions, I could now rename it to something like how to take care. And then I could also change the icon to something else. You could also add a bit of text here. And now you see that, where is it? Row content. The text appears here. Now, what's annoying here is that this text is for same text for all of the products. So basically, all of your product description has to be here. If you don't have these that apply for the whole page, then you could just go back and delete all of them. So you need to see what applies to your situation. If you need to add content specific to a product and the description is not enough, then you need to create a meta field in the settings. Then you can link it as dynamic content in any of the blocks. So basically, for example, let's add a block here and it's text block. You see it's here. And now if I click into it, and here at top, you have insert dynamic source. If we click on that, you should see, probably you see vendor. I also have a couple other ones as I've been playing around with them. I'm going to talk about in depth about Metafields later in this video. You can check the timestamps in the video description. So I'm going to actually delete the materials because materials change. So clicking on materials. And I might keep the shipping and returns. How to care, not really, don't need it. Gonna remove it. Same thing with share. Just makes it look a bit less premium. All right, starting to look pretty good. Then we can continue on the page. So we have this image with text section, but I don't have anything right now. And this would be one image for all of the products. So it's a bit more generic. That's why I'm not a big fan of that maybe. So I'm going to just delete this whole block. So if I click on it, I can delete it. Now, this next block, multi-column, we have free shipping and hassle-free exchanges. This makes total sense. I would just update it and make more relevant for my website, but I could keep it. Maybe in a different format though. So in the next section, also product recommendation. Makes total sense to have it here and actually works pretty well. And then just check out the rest of the settings here on the left. They're quite straightforward and I think you can just play around with them. Okay, now we talked about how to update the homepage and product page, but I haven't really talked about colors at all because unfortunately with the free themes in Shopify, it's quite limited what you can update. If you install an app with Page Builder, it's gonna improve. Also with the paid themes, you get more options, but with these ones, it's quite limited. But for this tutorial, because we're trying to keep the cost down, this is what we had to work with. So here on the left, we can go and we have theme settings. And if you open the first tab, it has colors. Now you can update these colors, but they don't always work. So for example, here we have accent color. Let's change that to red so we can see immediately where that changes. So you see in this case, these are accent colors. Why these buttons have this? Sometimes you can adjust it. So let's take a look if we can look into the add to cart button here, buy buttons. But unfortunately, in this case, you can't. If you have a premium theme, you'll be able to adjust these things here. Same thing goes with the page builders. So let's go back and go back to the color. So obviously, I don't want to have it red, but you can adjust things here. I'll make it, not white, for sure not white. Let's make it black so it stands out like this. So I would just play around with this and see what changes. For example, you're not going to change maybe the text. You could change it to different black, but you're not going to change it to, red or something because that just doesn't make sense. But you have here outline button. background for just the whole page. You also have option for background 2, which is a bit more gray. So you see you have some options to modify this, but they don't always work with this one. So this is kind of limitation of the free themes. So one more thing about colors is, like, for example, we have here the accent color is blue. What you could sometimes do, you come here, for example, this announcement. If I go to sections and come to announcement bar, I can't change anything here, but actually if I click on this text here, I'm able to change the background color to accent 2, and then you see it's nice and blue here. So for some elements, it's possible to change background like this and connect it to the color scheme. So actually I like the blue one. I'm going to keep it this way. So let's just save this. Same thing goes with typography. You can change it here. So you have right now this assistant, but we could go and say, okay, well, actually I want some sort of sans serif. You'll see it changes this immediately. You can also search here if you know certain font, for example, Roboto from Google, and you see it changes it here. You can select it. This will change the font everywhere. But in my case, I actually like the sans serif more, so I'm going to change it back to that like this. So here, this was for headings. So the font for headings, I changed. Let's change it again. Select. Remember to click on select here, and then that was the font for the headings. And you also have font for the body text. So this text is here. I'm going to change it also to just to sans serif. Again, this is really about your brand and your preferences. I'm going to keep it like this. Have layout, buttons, and stuff like that. Now, I would just go ahead and play around with it. Next, what you want to do is just scroll down, and you see here favicon. If you click on it, and favicon just means this little icon here that even Shopify has. It shows up in the browser tab. So we want to set that so we can select an image, or instead we can connect to dynamically. So now we could choose the square logo, and we're going to set this up later when we go into the settings. And that way it just utilizes the same image for all of these square images. It's up to you how you set this up. You can do it manually or dynamically. I prefer the dynamic just so that it's all consistent. And then if you go here, you see the settings for cart here. You can adjust certain things, not too many, but you can still adjust it. And you can also have a checkout here. This one, checkout, is a little bit longer. You see there's a lot of things you can actually have influence on. And here there's a button color. So if I change that to black, well, actually you don't see anything because we're on home page. And if you want to see the cart, you come here and select cart. Nothing has really changed here because I didn't do anything. And same thing for checkout. And now here, if I scroll down, the button is actually black. If I change it to blue, it will become blue as well. Maybe. There you go. Okay. And there are other pages here, for example, customer accounts and others. If you go inside, 404 page and search a password. This is where you adapt these pages. Next, what we're going to do is set up the most important settings, like your payment settings, also shipping and things like that. So this is a bit more boring part, but without this, you just can't launch a product, or you can't deliver the products to your customers and also collect the payment. So let's start with that. So if you go to settings, this is where it all starts. So first of all, store information. You kind of need to enter this because this is also what shows up in the customer's invoice and things like that. So please go ahead, click on edit, and just update all of this. And keep in mind that you need to have the address. Again, this shows up in the bill. Also the contact information. Maybe you don't want to have your personal email here. You can also update that to having something like info, your domain name. Really, this is up to you how you want to set it up, but please fill it in because without this, people will just get confused and obviously they can't contact you. So I'm going to keep this ones for now as default. Here you can change the currency. In my case, it's euros, but probably for you, it might be some different one. Here you update your time zone, also unit systems and default weight unit. Mine are already automatically set for Netherlands, and yours probably will be correct as well. Here you can set how you want to have order numbers. So for example,
Do you have hashtag or EN or whatever you prefer? So they explain here. I'll just keep it to default ones. I think they work perfectly fine. Cool. Then we have the plan where you can upgrade once you're ready. You can't use Shopify forever for free, so that's why at some point you'll need to upgrade it, and you can do it from here by choosing the plan. And for most people, the plan, if you're just starting out, the basic one will be totally fine. It's up to you if you want to commit to yearly payments, so you get a bit of discount there. Or right now they have a nice discount on 3 first months, so maybe just take that one into account as well. Obviously, if you have a bigger shop, you see here the differences. You basically pay smaller transaction fees where you pay more per month, but you just need to calculate if you need all of these features. And in the billing, this is where Shopify charges you, so not the other way around. So this is not what your customers pay you. Then you have users and permissions. This is if you have more than you in your teams. You can just add people here and give them different permissions. Then you have payments. So for payments, definitely Shopify payments is the easiest one, but it's also a bit more costly than using some of the other providers. And what they offer here, you can even click on learn more. You'll see this is what they offer right now. And then you have also these payment methods included. So these are local payment methods. In my case, because I'm in Netherlands, it also shows the payment methods that are most relevant to me. So I think this is the easiest way to start, and I wouldn't worry about this right now, because if your volumes are small, it doesn't really matter if the percentage is now 1.9 or if it's 1.5. It only comes to in effect once you're bigger in scale. So definitely I would go with this one. But if you're not happy, then you can also see all other providers here. If you click, you have much more. So there are some other popular payment providers like IDN or Stripe. You can find them here. If you need something specific like a payment method for your country and Shopify doesn't have, this is the place where you can find somebody with that. So here you would find the third-party integration, but these are a bit more complex to set up. So let's go back and we can activate the Shopify payments here. Just fill in your details and follow the steps. It's quite straightforward, and then you're in a good shape. Right now, the supported payment methods they already have is PayPal and also Amazon. You would need to fill in your PayPal account here. So if I go here, manage, you would need to complete the setup. So for example, if I click on this, you need to connect to your PayPal, but it's quite straightforward, and you log into a PayPal and they ask maybe a few questions and then it will connect it. So I would encourage you to do that. PayPal is a bit more expensive to you, but it's definitely worth it because so many people use it, especially in certain countries like Germany. It's the biggest payment method, so you kind of have to have that one. You also have same thing for Amazon payment, and you can also add other payments. I already kind of showed you the similar way. You can search by payment methods or search provider. So for example, if you need Ideal like I do in the Netherlands, then you can find who is providing that. So you see Molly, they are providing it. Let's go back. And then if you want to integrate some manual payments that are outside, so if they don't have any of the payment methods you need, you can also do it here. But that's a bit harder. So you can have some options here, like bank deposit and cash on delivery. So for some countries, that's super important. So they give you option here as well to do that. Cool. Then you have the checkout. Here you can set up, what kind of customer accounts you have. So in my case, I'm not going to use accounts, but you could have it as an optional setting. But please don't make it required, because you're a new shop. Nobody wants to create an account by force. So optional is fine, or don't use them at all for now when you're starting out. In the next section, you set up, how do you contact the customer? Is it with phone or email, or just email? In some cases, phone number is kind of mandatory because of the shipping. So you might want to just keep the default settings here. And then you have other customer information like full name. Do you want to just ask for last name? You can require the first and last name. You can set up the company name is optional. And then the address line can be optional as well. But since you have the address line too, maybe you don't need the company, because people can kind of add
the company name there. So I'm gonna exclude it. And then you have the phone number. Well, again, this depends on your country and what is normal for your country. In my case, it's actually required to have the phone number just because there's a lot of times that the shipping provider has some issues and they call the customer directly. If it's not normal to ask for the phone number, don't do it. It's just an extra step for the user, and they might not be comfortable sharing their phone number with you. And for the rest of the fields, you can just check them out. And if something applies to you, just go ahead and uncheck or check things. For me, the defaults work fine, and I'm going to save these changes. And now we can go to shipping and delivery. Shipping and delivery, quite straightforward. If you have different countries, you're able to set up different shipping rates for those, maybe even times for those. So you can take a look here. By default, you have this. If you click on manage, you can see that you have different rates. You can set those different rates for products. If you have a big product, you will charge more for the shipping. And then you are able to change shipping rates based on a country or a region. For example, here I have Netherlands, which has price of about €5. And for everybody else in Europe, it's €13. And then rest of the world, it's 20. Now, in my case, for example, I'm not going to use rest of the world. I can just come here and delete this. You could also edit the zone, but I'm going to delete it. For now, I'll keep the Europe as €13. I have no idea what the rates are. I would need to contact my shipment provider, so DHL, or maybe it's your warehouse that you make the contract with, and check with them how much the shipping is. Then the domestic, I can change it here. So let's change the rate. So rate name standard, fine. I'm going to change it to a bit lower one, $2.95, because my products are not that big. And then we can say based on item weight or based on order price. And it starts from minimum price, 0, and basically it applies to everybody, right? But what you could do is limit this one or add another one that then starts from 40 and then it's free. We can limit this to €40. So that means if anything is above this price, 40, that means it's gonna be free, because this rate will not apply anymore like this. You see this condition, so from 0 to 40, and then this price, and the rest will be for free. Now, one thing I could change here is that instead of 40, we're gonna make $39.99, so that it's nice for the customer. If they have 40, they actually get it for free. And for the rest of the countries, it's just €13 flat rate. Lower on the page, there are a bit more settings that you can do. So for example, if you have processing time, once you know how long it takes, you can add them here. If it takes you 2 days to package the product, you can add it from here. For now, I'll keep everything to default. Also, if you have a physical store somewhere, you can set here local delivery and local pickup. This just means that these orders you will provide. So for example, for local delivery, maybe you take your car and deliver it, or maybe you have somebody delivering it. So it doesn't go through your fulfillment. It goes just, you sending it. Same for local pickup. Makes total sense. If you have a shop, you have settings for packages. Once you know what kind of packages you send people this, I would set it up. For now, I don't think it's so important because you're still learning. Then you have the packing slip. So if usually when you receive an order, there is a packing slip inside. And if you come here, you can actually edit here. Now, unfortunately, it's in basically HTML. You would need to know a bit how to build it up here. And if you want to preview the template looks pretty much like any standard packing slip. So here you have your delivery to, build to, blah, blah, blah. So all the information that is quite standard in this field. So this is a nice part of Shopify, that it comes with all this stuff. And then if I scroll down, once you upgrade your plan, you can also have these automatic calculator rates. This applies to certain countries, and also uses certain providers like FedEx and UPS. But in any case, you're able to integrate them directly here. And then if you need something custom, you can also add it here. Now, once you grow, you will need some sort of a order management app. So you'll install an app with order management software behind it because it's going to be otherwise a bit too tricky. I think most of medium-sized or even a bit bigger shops use this. Otherwise, it gets out of control because the cool thing is with order management system, you're able to connect it directly to for UPS or DHL and send your packages through there. And it's all automatic. You don't need to do, once you set it up, you don't need to do anything extra with it. But as starting out, you need to learn all of these things. Next is taxes and duties. Now, this really depends on your country and you need to kind of collect. They have some default things here. So take a look. This really depends on your country. So I can't tell you what exactly you need to do here. But basically, you just need to collect VAT from your customers. And it doesn't matter, in pretty much all world's countries, you have some sort of VAT. So just check how it works. For example, for Europe, you just click here and you just need your VAT number. And after that, you're able to collect it. So for example, if I click here, you have some other options here. Again, really depends on your situation. So I would check with local regulations. Then I have the location. Here you can add the locations for inventory and stuff. For now, I'll just keep it at default because we don't have any. Gift cards, again, if you want to set this up, you're able to have some settings here. Then we have markets, and this is where you set up your local market and international markets. So for example, by default, I have Netherlands here. I can manage through here. These are my Dutch market, and you can see there's certain things you can apply to the market specifically. You see that you can also add payments and taxes. So this is like a place to manage per country or per market. Also, this is where you can add markets to certain regions. So for example, international, if I go here, so you can see you can manage stuff here, but also you can add or delete some of these countries. So if you click on edit, you see you have all of these countries. Australia, way too far for me. I'm not going to even treat that as international. So I would just go through here and see if there are countries that shouldn't be there. I see already a lot of like Malaysia and New Zealand. There's no way I can deliver there. And all the countries I want to deliver to are just in Europe. So you could just now delete the ones you don't want and then add the ones you do want. So from here, international, I'll just delete the international. So these are the European countries. I could also add countries through here. You see all of them are an option here. Gonna close this and we can save this and then go back. Domains is kind of important because we want to have custom domain, and I'm going to show you a bit later how to do that. It's just at the end of this video because we don't want to have this ugly URL as our shop URL. Nobody's going to buy from us if it looks like that. So we need a custom domain. You have some events here. Again, not needed for beginning. I would not worry about this for now. You have brand where we can set up our default logo and things. This is something I would encourage you to do. So here you can add your logo. I already have one. You can see it's complaining here that it's not big enough. So you need to have big enough logo so that it appears in social media the correct way. Also square image, you would just upload that. You have some primary colors for your brand. You can add cover images and stuff like that. So I would fill this in because once somebody shares your page on social media, this is what they would see in there. So kind of important to make it work nicely. So I can add now a square image also. Let's do that here. Add an image. And I have this one. It's way too small just to show like this. And this is also used for Fab Icon. Fab Icon is this little icon here at the top. So make sure that it looks nice in the square as well. Then you have the default colors. I wouldn't touch these. I think if you have brand colors, you can use them here, but really not necessary for now. Cover image, you can upload all of these images if you want, and descriptions, because they will show up in social media when somebody shares your shop there. Not the highest priority task, but I'll definitely do it at some point. So let's save it. Then you have the next section, notifications, and this is all kinds of emails that you will send out to the customer. You see here all the templates. For example, order invoice. If you click on it,
You see the invoice here, it's printed for you. This is how it will look like. And you could now edit the code and edit this invoice. But you would need to know how to code. So here you would need to enter all that information and code a little bit here. It's not very complex. And if you don't know yourself, you can hire somebody on Fiverr or something to update this to your standards. The default one looks decent and it's okay to start with. Then you have Metafields. And this is super useful in Shopify because you can add more details to, for example, product pages, variants, collections, or customers. For example, I have 2 collections now. I could add a separate field of text or images just for collections like bags. Or I could add something special for shoes. Same thing goes to products. So let's try it out. If I click on products and add a new definition, I could now say material. And in this case, it will be, like leather or something. And you see that it suggested some fields here. You can use them or you can use your own. It doesn't matter. I'll just show you how to do it by yourself. So custom. So I'm going to select this one. Then you have description. In this case, it could be a material used in production. I don't know. This is bags and shoes. So maybe this is not very descriptive. And this is just for yourself. So the description doesn't show anywhere else. And what you can do here, if you click on this select content type, you need to select something. Depending on what you need, for example, you have a number, or if it's just a single line, you select one from here. You could also have a file. That means people can download a brochure, for example, for your product, just specific to this product. So let's select for this example, the single line text. And here you can see list of values or one value. In my case, it will be simple. It's just one value. Here, you can add some validation if you want to, but for me, I don't need it. And this validation just works if you have more people adding these metafields or product information, then this would be useful. So let's save this. And you can see now I have 2. I've been playing around with the other one. So now let's go back here, close this one, and we're going to go into products. And I'll just choose one of the products. So for example, this bow Ivy. So this bag, let's say this is made of leather. I'm going to add it as a custom field or a meta field. So if you scroll down, you see that I actually have 2 fields here. This is that I've added before. And now here I can add, for example, leather. And here test stuff. Okay. You will see that it works. Save. So this material obviously will be specific to that product. So if another bag is made of cotton or something, then you would add it to that product specifically. So this is product specific attributes. You can do this also for collections. So now if I go to the theme editor and I see this product, I can now come here and, for example, in the product information, oops, it will go back. I can add a block here and just choose text block. You see it appears here, text block. Now, if I click into it, I can click on this dynamic source. And now you see material shows up. Okay, I don't need this text block. So now you have material. And then the style here, if you can choose it. Now, you can see this gets popular by letter. But if the product doesn't have that field, so it's not set, then it will be just empty. So it won't show up. And one thing to note here is that you can't always add all of the types of the fields. So for example, you saw here, I have this care guide, but it doesn't show up if I come here and try to search for care guide. So if I search for it, you see it just doesn't come up there. This is because it's actually a 2-line, multi-line text. And multi-line text doesn't work in all of these fields. So for example, multi-line text will work where you have more space. I could add now a section here and add a text. So for example, a rich text. You see it appears here. And now I could come to this, click on this text because it has multiple lines. You see it here as well. I can click on the dynamic source. And now click on more. You see I have care guide here. Now I can select it actually. I could just now remove this stuff
And now care guide appears here. You see test stuff. So just keep in mind that it doesn't always show up in the dynamic sources, and that's probably because of the type of field you've chosen. So that's quite important. Let's go back to products and back to settings. And next one, we have the file. So you can just manage your images from here if you want, bulk upload them and so on. And then very important section is the policies. I skipped language here, but yeah, if you need more languages, you just check out there. There are certain type of pages that most web shops kind of have to have it legally, obviously depending on where you live. But the cool thing about Shopify is they kind of provide you templates. So you have here refund policy, privacy policy, terms of service, and so on. So what is the cool part of this is you can just here click on create for template, and you see it basically inserts certain things here. All you have to do now is come here and insert your return address, for example. The email is already here, and other sections here. Well, in this one, you don't have any other. It works the same way for others as well. So if I click here, create template, you see it just creates this privacy policy, and you see you'll have to change some things like this is the URL right now, but hopefully you'll use custom domain name here. So you'll connect this to a proper domain name, and then you put it here. So you see it just generates all the sort of default templates. Now, I would start with this, but obviously check with your legal how it works. But this is a great starting point if you don't know what to use. These default templates are pretty cool because you can just add your details to them, and then you have something at least. Same thing with the other ones. You can just generate them the same way. And all of these show up in different places. So now if I save this, so how can you add these to your website? Because obviously now, this is just text somewhere. How can you actually link to this? Well, you go to your menu section. So let's close this one. And then we go to the navigation. And I would just put this in footer, not in the main menu. So let's go to the footer menu. And here, if I add a menu item, I can actually search for policies. So for example, here now you see this one, I have privacy policy, and that's the title as well. So I could now add it. And now if people click on it, they will end up in the privacy policy page, which is that template we just generated. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going to save this menu. Let's go back to online store. Okay, and very important before you launch your website is to check your preferences. Here it is kind of, especially the first part is like the title and meta description. These are used for SEO purposes. So search engines can crawl this, and they use this when somebody searches for your web store on Google, for example. They will see this title and the description. So for example, I could now add here a title about my shop in general. So this homepage title, and then also a small description about it. You can see there's only a limited amount of characters you can actually use. So you can also add this logo for social sharing. In this case, I have my logo, but it's actually recommended that this size. So I would need to go and create this logo in this size. Another cool feature is obviously connecting your website to Google Analytics, which is the most popular web analytics tool right now online, and it's free. And if you connect those two, then you can see which people came to your website and what kind of pages were viewed and how many people bought and so on. You have these basic metrics in Shopify already, but then Google Analytics just gives you a bit more flexibility how to look at the data. Later on, you will also connect probably to Facebook Pixel. You can set it up here. And then you have customer privacy settings here. And this is really important. If you're in EU, you need to look into this and make sure that you collect the consent before they use your website. And if you're in California, you also have this limited data collection for customers residing in California. So you need to activate that too. Right now, the website is under a password protection just because I haven't picked a plan yet, which you should do because once the website is done, you want it to show up.
And here is spam protection. Just keep it as default. And don't forget to save this. All right, now we have pretty much done everything. The only thing you need to now do is make sure you have a custom domain name. And you can set it up here if you go to settings. And then here, scroll down, domains. If you haven't bought the domain name yet, then I would just go ahead and buy it from Shopify. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's so much easier to have all in one place. But if you already bought it from somewhere else, like GoDaddy or Namecheap, then you can just connect it through here. With GoDaddy, it's super easy. With Namecheap, it's a few more steps. I actually prefer using Namecheap in general. I just think GoDaddy is way too expensive. But in any case, if you're new to this, just buy the domain name directly from Shopify. It just integrates so much easier. So you come here and then you search for your domain name. So for example, mambofashion.com. Let's see if they have. .com might be already booked. You see it's unavailable. So I can now say something like get Mambo Fashion. And now I could go ahead and buy this. You see, you just fill in the details and it'll just go past. The cool thing is if you buy it this way, the connection will be automatic. So it's going to be super easy to set up. So I'm going to just fill in the details and let's see how it works. All right, I entered my details and also by payment method. In this case, I'm using PayPal and it's $15 per year for this domain name. And you can see that it comes with this Whois privacy, which is really nice to have. For example, GoDaddy charges for this separately. And now, if you scroll down, you can just buy this domain name. And you can see already that this domain name is under my domains. And you can see it's already here. Target, online store, domain type, redirects to Mambo, blah, blah, blah. How can you know that it's yours actually? Well, you just grab this URL and go to your browser and enter it. And if you see this page, you see there's my logo. That means you own the domain name and it's actually working. You would not see this if you would already select a plan, which I should do now because next we're going to test this website and look that it works flawlessly. So I'm going to set that up now. So for the plan, it's quite simple. If you're here, just go ahead and add your payment method and then choose a plan. For most people, it will be enough to have the basic one. You can see right now they have some sort of sales going on where you get the first 3 months for €1 or $1. But you could also go ahead and purchase for yearly or 2-year plans because that gets a bit cheaper in the long run. And the biggest difference between the plans is the fact that your payment transactions or transaction fees are cheaper as you pay more. You can see here transaction fees are 2% and here it's 1%. And there's other features that are included here. For example, you get 2 staff members or 5 staff members in the Shopify plan. Again, just take a look what you need here and then choose. For most of starters, it will be just the basic one. It will be enough. So let's choose that. I'm going to go with the monthly one because they have a nice discount right now there. Confirm billing cycle. And now, because I already added my business address and payment method here, it's quite simple. And now I just click here, start the plan. Let's go ahead and test the website now. So you can go and type your domain name. And right now I have this password protected, just so it's actually on purpose. And you can see that I have the SSL certificate. So I have this little lock icon here. Because all the domain names you connect with the Shopify will get this for free. So don't worry about it. It just might take some time to be enabled once you connect the proper domain name or a custom domain name to your Shopify. Once you see that, I can now go and enter using password. I entered it. Again, this is in the preferences. And now you see we have our website. Now, I would go ahead and test it everywhere, see that the video works, that the products click through nicely, that everything that you think should work and everything that you thought about in design perspective, that it works. If you need to check this on mobile, all you have to do is click anywhere, right click, and choose this inspect. And then depending on your browser, you have this icon here. It's kind of similar for all the browsers. It's somewhere in the DevTools here. So if you click on that, you can see that you see mobile. If you don't, here at the top, you have a selection of different mobile phone versions. So you can just select that. For example, iPhone like this. So it just resizes it to the correct size. Now, you would always test it also on your real mobile device, but this gives you a nice overview if everything looks nice in terms of design. So now we can go and shop for shoes. You come to collections with all the shoes, and you can see you can even filter here. And let's say I want to buy these shoes. I can select the size. Okay, this specific size is sold out, I can see. Okay, I guess all of them are. So I'm going to select the one that I can, add to cart. And now if I continue to checkout, you see I have PayPal Express as well here. You can set that up in the preferences as well. And now if I go to checkout, you will see the checkout page as well.
Now, you don't need to use real money to test your shop. There's actually a test mode in Shopify with test credit cards and accounts. For a complete tutorial, check this video right here.